So there are two types of taxes are there. One is a direct tax and another one is indirect tax. Direct tax are nothing but where the incidence and impact will be fall on same person, and indirect tax is nothing but where the incidence on one person and impact will be on another. So let's example for direct tax is income tax, corporate tax, gift tax, and some other like wealth tax. All are come under the direct tax because why it is called as a direct tax? As an individual income is responsibility to pay tax directly to the income tax department. In India, administered tax are administered and governed by Central Board of Direct Tax. Okay, so this is a board will going to be administered and provide rules and regulations for direct tax, and indirect tax is nothing but where the incidence on one person and impact will be on another person. So example is manufacturer as well as the customer. Okay, so in India, the example for indirect tax are GST as well as customs duty. Okay, so other taxes are also is there like CST, VAT, custody and all, excise duty and all. So after introduction of GST from 2017 July 1st, this all taxes are abolished and replaced with GST. So in India, indirect tax are administered by Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs. Okay. Yes. So again, we discuss about what are the slab rates for an individual who is age below 60 years and 60 years to 80 years senior citizens and super senior citizens above 8 years. Okay, so these are the slab rates 5%, 30% and 30%. So up to 2,50,000, an individual who is age below 60 years no need to pay any kind of tax in India. So if he is above 2,50,000, he has to pay the tax from 5% up to 5 lakh rupees, 5% and tax 20%, and 10 lakh above 30% he has to pay the tax in India. And one more point you have to be keep in mind. So here you no need to pay any kind of tax up to 5 lakh, even though exemption limit is 2,50,000. Why? Because we have the concept called as an that is rebate under section 87A. It talks about if an individual who is earning an income below 5 lakh rupees, he can claim the rebate of 12,500 rupees because of rebate concept. So an individual if he is earning up to 5 lakh also no need to pay any kind of the tax on that amount. Okay, so if it is above 5 lakh if he is earning means the rebate concept will not going to be applicable. So you know only 2,50,000 you can claim as a exemption. Remaining amount he has to pay tax as per the slab rates. Okay, so this is a senior citizen up to 3 lakh no need to pay tax. Above 3 lakh same slab rates 5%, 20%, and super senior citizens no need to pay tax up to 5 lakh rupees. Okay. So along with this we have to pay surcharge if in individual income if he is earning above 50 lakh rupees 10% surcharge he has to pay, along with health and education cess 4%. So these all are practical things I will going to be explained once again when offline classes are starting. Okay. Also we nature of one the nature of income tax in India. One is a progressive nature. What is the difference between progressive taxation or regressive taxation? So as your income is day by day, so tax rate is also will going to be increases slowly. That is a progressive. Regressive is nothing but where you when your income is increases, tax rate will going to be decreases. In India, regressive rather than regressive. And also we learn the proportional nature. So proportional taxation is nothing but as your income is increases or decreases, not a matter, tax rate will be the constant for everyone. So example in India, we are also following the proportional taxation system in some kind of products like petroleum, meat, and some kind of alcohol like that. Okay, and digressive in nature is nothing but as your income is increases or increases slowly, tax rate is also will going to be increases, but what one particular point of time the tax rate will going to be constant or stagnant. So it will not be India. So in India 30% is a stagnant or the last tax rate will going to be imposed on individual. If you are even if you are earning 100 crores or 200 crores or 500 crores, they will going to be imposed 30% only as a tax rate. This is a standard rate, they will not going to be imposed behind this. So what will happen if it is increase if they impose behind this tax rate? So I already explained with the concept of in first class as a Laffer curve. This is a concept which has been explains that the differences between tax rate as well as tax revenue collected by the government. What will happen if I am earning an 100 rupees? Okay, if I am earning an 100 rupees, if government asks 30 rupees to pay tax means I can pay. Even 40% means 40 rupees I can pay. If they increases again and again, like for the 50%, 60%, 70%, 100 rupees, if I am earning 70% of that, means 70 rupees, if I want to pay the tax to the government, means I'll going to be think about it why I should work, because whatever I am earning the income, I should pay entire amount, right? So that's why I will not going to be pay any kind of tax. I will at the same time I'll not going to go for work also. So this is a effect will going to be increases. As in your income is increases slowly, tax rate is also increases by the government. The government revenue also will going to be increases, but one particular point of time it is well and good. But behind that point also, if your tax rate, if your increases is nothing but government revenue will going to be decreases, even it will come to the negative point also. So how we are seeing in corona effect during the COVID-19 impact, the revenue of the government has been decreases. Why? The peoples are not getting any kind of work, they don't have any work to do, so companies are not paying any kind of taxes. Such kind of arises going to be arises if the government is increases tax, the peoples will not going to be work at all. They're going to be stay in home only, and they will not staying in home. If they are staying in home means they are not earning income, right? If not earning the income, how they will going to be pay the tax? So government revenue will going to be decreased. We are That's why we are following the degressive nature of taxes. As your income is increases, tax rate is also will going to be increases, but one particular point of time the tax rate will be the stagnate or the constant. That is 30% in India, it is a standard rate in India. Okay, so hope these points all are clear to you. And we also learn the canons of taxation, so very important for your exam point of view. What you mean by canons of taxation is nothing but it is a principles. That means if a country wants to make any kind of law related to an taxation, the company has to the government has to keep all these points while making the any kind of law in a country. Okay, the first one is canon of equality. Equality is nothing but the government has to be impose the tax based on the to pay the that tax by the person. For example, if I have an ability, then only I can pay the tax. If I am earning the income, then only I can pay the tax, right? So government, if they impose the tax on every citizen of our country, even though if he is not earning the income. So let's take it as an example, you all are students. So if the government tomorrow the come with an one proposal that student also need to pay 2% out of their pocket money, is it possible? Is it equal for everyone? Absolutely no. So that is a concept called as a right to equality. So canon of equality is nothing but the government has to pay the tax based on an individual who is earning the income. So ability to pay the tax. So we have to be treat in India every citizen with an equal. Higher the income, higher the tax. Lower the income, lower the tax we have to be imposed. If an individual who is earning up to 2 lakh 50 to 5 lakh, we have to impose 5%. If he is earning 30 lakh, we have to impose 30 lakh, 30%. So like this, equality we have to be maintained. Why we have to impose more tax on higher income? Because they are earning the income based on our law, security, policies of the government, right? So that's why we have to impose more tax. So that is a reason. Okay, that is the meaning of equality. Canon of certainty is nothing but it should be certain. It should be certain for an individual. Based on, he should know what amount I should pay, what kind of tax I should pay, and which mode I should pay. It should be certain, it should be convenient to that particular person. And canon of convenience is nothing but earn pay as you earn. There is a concept called as an pay as you earn is nothing but if you are earning the salary, then only pay the tax. If you are earning the profit, then only pay the tax. So based on convenience of a particular person, we have to be pay the tax to the government. That is a canon of convenience. Okay, canon of economy is nothing but, as I already said in a last class, the government will going to be incurred too many expenses when they are collecting the taxes, right? So government has to minimize that whatever the tax they will going to be incurred in the organization. So how they can reduce the cost? Because go through online transactions, because nowadays we all are filing the returns through an online only. Physical submission also will be there, but it is a time consuming and cost, it is cost will going to be increases more because of introduction of an online. So you can go to anywhere and sit anywhere in India, So anytime 24 into 7 you can file an online return anywhere. Okay, so this is a convenience. That means government economy, as well as the government is reducing the cost which has been incurred on that is a collection of taxes. That is called as a canon of economy. The principle of simplicity. Simplicity is nothing but whenever you are making any kind of law, it should be simple and it should be clear for everyone. Because in India, most of the peoples are uneducated peoples. They should know. For that, uneducated or illiterate person also should know by seeing the computation of tax liability. Because if you go to the portal income tax department, you no need to calculate any kind of tax rate. Okay, for example, if you are earning the income of 10 lakh rupees, if you put 10 lakh rupees there, there itself income tax portal itself will going to be calculate the tax liability and give in front of you. That kind of simplicity they are maintaining. That means they are clear for everyone. For example, before that, what will happen if I went to the income tax department, I should take a physical report and one paper of sheets I should calculate from 2 lakh 50 to 5 lakh 5% what is the rate by calci and all. It is very difficult for everyone. So now what will happen, income tax department, if you go with a portal in coming classes, at the last classes I will going to be explain how to filing the income tax return. Because income tax is not a matter of theoretical subject, it should be a practical. You should know why we are learning the tax. Because tax is applicable for each and every one. You should know how to filing your return with yourself, not consulting others. Because if you don't know, you then only you will going to consult by the chartered accountant, right? So as my student, you should know, you should learn by self how to compute in the tax liability and how to file in the returns. Okay, so let's hope, we hope for the best in coming classes. If I get chance, I will going to be explain how to file in the returns by yourself. Okay, that is called as a canon of simplicity. That means whatever the tax we are making, it should be simple and clear for each and everyone. Okay, and next one is canon of coordination. Our principle of coordination is nothing but there is a concept called as an cooperative federalism. That means there should be in India, only central government is not imposing taxes, right? They're imposing by state government, central government, even local authority like your municipalities, panchayat also, they are imposing taxes, right? There should be a proper coordination between that particular department. If municipal authority, if they're imposing tax, means state government should not interfere there. If state government is imposing tax on particular product, means central government should not interfere that. If they interfere, what will happen, tax on same product, all the government, all the like state, center and local authority, if they're imposing the tax on that particular product, means what will happen, it will tax price will going to be increases. And one more important, cascading affecting of tax will going to be arises. What do you mean by cascading affecting of taxes? That means tax on particular product. So when tax on tax, what it impact, cost price of the product will going to be increases, ultimate burden has to be paid by the customer. So this should not be happen. We have to be maintain coordination properly between center, state and local authority. This is also the point we have to be keep in mind while framing the tax law. Next one is canon of flexibility. As we know that we got an independence in 1947 and we also enacted the act of income tax in 1961. Has standard of living and per capita income of the individual till from 1947 to till year, is it same? No, right? Standard of living has been increases, per capita income of the percentage has been increases. Go as India is developing country, now move towards developed nations. So all these are make as it changes. So inflation has been taken place day by day. So we have to be make a law according to changes. That is a we have to be keep in mind when you are making a law. That is called as a flexibility. Changes should be there. It should not be rigid one. It should not be constant one. If you go to the 1961 era, I already explained in 1860 they introduced the income tax. At that time, exemption limit is 200 rupees. Now, what is the exemption limit? 2,50,000 rupees. Why they made that changes? Because of standard of living. We have increases. That is called as a flexibility. We should make a law and amend the law from time to time according to our convenience. That is called as a flexibility. One more point is not there. If you want, you can add it in your notes. That is called as a canon of productivity. What do you mean by productivity? Increasing of yield by the government. As population is increases, government revenue should also will be have to increases, right? So then that is called as a productivity. The government has to, from time to time, they have to be increase their revenue, then only they can go with a physical surplus rather than physical deficit. What do you mean by physical deficit? When the revenue of the government is more than the expenditure, it is a physical surplus, right? If the expenses are more, expenditures are more, surplus are very less, that means taxes are very less. Physical deficit. India till now they are facing physical deficit only. There, when in making and physical deficit, what will happen? You are borrowing loan from the outsiders, outside the country, like IMF, World Bank, and we are asking with other developed nations. It should not happen. So that's why government should increase their revenue as per their population, as per their development, as per their growth. That is called as the canon of productivity. Okay, so these are the important canons or principles of taxation. So very very important for your exam point of view. I hope you understood this concept. If you have any doubt, you can. I already discussed these points in last class. If you have any doubt, you can put it in chat box. Any doubt, Git, with regards to canons of taxation? Are you there? Is my voice is audible? Yeah. So thank you, Benny. Okay. So next one is we're going to discuss now one more important. So we already discussed canons of taxation. I'm going to give you the notes. Don't worry. Okay. So next one is important definitions. Very very important for your exam, for your learning point of view as well as exam point of view. Out of this, whatever the definitions is there, these are the terminologies will going to be used when you are computing the tax liability. Okay, out of this, whatever definitions, up to 9 definition is there. Out of 9, 3 definitions will going to be compulsorily, it will going to be come in your exam. Okay, so rather than your exam, for learning point of view, it is a very very important, because as an income student should know terminologies first. When you are understanding the concept, then only you can go with an computation. So my intention is to, you have to learn the theoretical aspect with a practical manner, and when it comes to the practical, we have to implement. That is a concept with an practical subject. Okay, so let's discuss one by one. Very very important. So once again I will repeat, it is a very very important for your exam point of view. Okay, and first one is assessment year, previous year. So listen carefully. So what is the differences between assessment year, previous year? Our entire income tax is depends on these two words: assessment year, previous year. Sir, what do you mean by an assessment year? What do you mean by previous year? In simple words, previous year is nothing but when you are earning the income, that entire year is called as an previous year. Okay, and whatever you are earning that income, you're going to pay the tax to the government, right? That year is called as a assessment year. Once again I will repeat. So what is the differences between assessment year and previous year? Is nothing but previous year is a year when an individual or when an assessee is earning the income, the entire year is called as a previous year. Assessment year is a year when individual has to pay the tax whatever is earning the income during the previous year. That is called as an assessment year. So in India, as you know that there are 12 months in a year, right? So our financial year start from 1st April to 31st March of next year. So present assessment year for your syllabus, your exam point of view is 2020-21. It is very simple to remember. So 2020-21. So this is a assessment year. So what is the present year? 2020, right? So 2021 is a assessment year. Previous year is nothing but 2019-20. 1920 is a previous year. Okay, so if you say it in example, what is a starting year? Assessment year 1 for 2020 to 31st March 2021, because next year. And previous year is 2000 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. So that is the difference between assessment year, previous year. If they ask what do you mean by an assessment year, write it like this: assessment year is a year consisting of 12 months starting from 1st April and ending with 31st March of next year. In simple words, assessment year is a year when an individual, one who has to pay the tax of whatever they are earning during the previous year, that year is called as a assessment year. Okay, previous year is nothing but it is also period of consisting of 12 months starting from 1st April and ending with 31st March of next year. So previous year is a year an individual, one who is earning the income, the entire year is called as a previous year, and assessment year is called as a the one who is paying the tax to the government. Okay, assessment year is nothing but preceding the previous year. So that is a meaning with regards to assessment year and previous year. So hope everyone understood what is the difference between assessment year, previous year. Everyone got it? Any doubt? If you want, I can explain it again. What is the difference between assessment year, previous year? So the present assessment year is 2020-21. The previous year is 1920. Starting from 1st April 2022, 31st March 2021. Previous year is 31st March 2019 to the 1/4/2019 to 31st March 2020. So any doubt? If you have any doubt, you can put it in chat box. I'll explain it again. Any doubt, guys? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So assessment year, previous year, very simple to understand. If anyone asks, as an income student, you should know this is the two words are very fundamental thing. Each and every year you will going to be applied. So for your exam point of view, as you are discussing a syllabus, so assessment year is 2020-21. Previous year is 2019-20. So starting from 1st April to 31st March of next year. So difference is previous year is a year when I am earning the income, that year is called as a previous year. Okay, when I should pay the tax to the government, when I am paying the tax to the government, that year is called as a assessment year. Okay, so this is with regards to differences between assessment year, previous year. So if in your exam, if they ask what is the difference between these two, you have to write. Okay, so assessment year is a year consisting of 12 months, start from 1st April ending with 31st March next year, and it is a year which will going to be pay the tax to the government. That year is called as the assessment year. So example, 1st April 2022, 31st March 2021. Okay, previous year is a year consisting of 12 months, so starting from 1st April to ending with 31st March of next year, and it is a year when individual who is earning the income, that year is called as a previous year. Okay, so example is 31st March 2009, so 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. So this is a previous year. Okay, so this is a difference between assessment year, previous year. So as I already discussed, so these are the important. What is the assessment year and previous year? See here, previous year is a year means financial year immediately preceding the assessment year. For example, assessment year is a 2020-21. Previous year is immediately preceding 2019-20. That is a meaning of previous year. But so very important. There are 5 exception is there. General rule of previous year. So normally, what is the general rule? Whatever income I am earning now, I should pay tax in the next year. Okay, let's take it as example. I am earning the income 2020. When I should pay the tax to the government? 2021. Okay, that is a general rule of income tax. Whatever income you are earning during previous year, you should pay in next year, right? That is a general rule. But certain exception is there. What do you mean by an exception? Whatever you are earning the income during previous year, in that previous year only you should pay the tax. You should not carry forward to assessment year. Okay, that is a general rule. Once again, I will repeat. Exceptions to the general rule of previous year is nothing but first of all, general rule. What do you mean by general rule? Whatever income I am earning during previous year, I should pay the tax in the assessment year. But exception to the general rule of previous year is nothing but whatever earning your income, you should pay tax in the same particular previous year only. You should not carry forward to assessment year. What are the exceptions? Very simple. So learn in a practical manner. If you are not understood, please ask again, I will explain it. Okay. First one, income of a non-resident shipping business. Why shipping business should be pay whatever income they are earning during previous year only? As we know that shipping business, a shipping transportation will going to be taken place from one country to another country. For example, today they will go, they are in India, tomorrow they may go into, they may in USA or South Africa, like that. We don't expect that, we assume that they may going to come back or not. We don't know, this is an uncertainty. So that's why any of the individual who is running a shipping business, so we don't have guarantee that he may going to come back to India and paying tax in next year. So that's why income tax department will going to be says that whatever income you are earning, you should pay tax in that particular year only, that means previous year only. This is a first exception. So very simple. Any kind of shipping business person is involved in running a shipping business. So is today he may in India, tomorrow he may in other country. We don't know he may going to come back or not. It is an uncertainty. Okay. So that's why whatever income he is earning, he should pay tax now only. Okay. This is a first exception. Second exception is nothing but income of a person living in India permanently or longer duration. So at that time, so income tax department will go to say, before leaving in India, pay tax and go. That is an exception. So pay tax and go means in that particular previous year only he should pay tax and then leave to India. If he is not paying tax, he is considered as a convicted. That means he will go to consider as an illegally he has migrated to other country. We have a rights to arrest. Okay, if he is not getting, he is not get any kind of citizenship in other country. But in case of Vijay Mallya, you all are heard about, he has taken a loan from Cross Together, our Indian bank. So at a night he has went to England. So, but we are not unable to arrest him because he has already got the citizenship in England. So the law says when you are not a citizen of our country, without without permission of that particular country, we can't arrest any other citizen of that particular nation. So that is a main problem we are facing. He is a citizen in England, citizenship of an England, he cancelled the citizen in India. So we are unable to arrest him. So that is a main diplomatic conflicts has been arises between India as well as Vijay Mallya. So hope for the best. Our international court of justice has been given results with favor of India. So hope Vijay Mallya will going to be come back to India and we will going to arrest it, and we can claim all kind of whatever loan he has took. Because as we know that this is one of the, because of this reason only in India day by day NPA has been increases. What do you mean by an NPA? Non-performing assets. Okay, non-performing asset is nothing but whenever other person has took a loan, if he's not for repay that loan amount, it becoming a NPA. Whose money that one? All that money is public. The public, if the public money is taken by others means, so it is a ultimately burden who has to bear? Public only, right? Is NPA is not for good for the country. So this is how we have to be keep it is a general discussion. Okay, that is a second exception, guys. Income of a person living in India. Income of a person living in India is nothing but permanently or longer duration it is living means income tax department will going to be tells that, yeah, if you are living India now, pay tax now only. Don't wait for next year. So then go. We'll leave. So that is a meaning of income of a person living in India. So first exception is income of a non-resident shipping business. Second exception is if a person living in India for a longer duration or permanently. So next one is income of a person, income of an association of person or body of individual formed for a particular purpose. So what do you mean by no association of person or body of individual? Let's take it as example when two or more person coming together with a common interest. Okay, let's take it as an example. I will going to be says that uh, uh, two or three women will going to be come to and form a Sri Shakti as an association, and their main with the main focus is to they are providing a financial assistance to the women who are starting the entrepreneurship. So new businesses. they are formed for the particular purpose only. We don't know they may going to carry forward the association for the next year or not. So we don't know, we don't have guarantee. So that's why income tax department will going to be says that if any kind of association of person or body of individual, if they're forming for the particular purpose, then they have to be paid tax in the previous year only. So this is a third exception. And next one is income of a person who is transferring any kind of assets to other person in order to escaping from paying taxes. Let's take the example. I am Karodpati. 100 crores are there in my name. If 100 crores are there in my name, what will I will do? As the income tax, I has to calculate in an individual basis, right? So what I will do, I will going to transfer my 50 lakh to my son. If I transfer my 50 lakh to my son, what will happen? I am escaping from paying the tax out of 100 lakh. So here income tax department will going to be says, whenever you are transferring any kind of particular property, particular assets to other person, okay, pay tax then transfer. That is the meaning of the income of a person likely to transfer any kind of property, any kind of income to avoid the paying the taxes. That is a fourth exception will be there. So this the four out of 4.5 point, any 2 point you should write for 2 marks compulsory question this one. So that's why I'm giving more time on discussion on this point. So guys, another 1 minute will be there. So please log in, re-log in it. I will continue the sessions. Okay. So if the meeting, if it is end miss, whatever link I send it in group, so please log in with the same link. Okay. The last one is income of a discontinued business or profession. What do you mean by discontinue? If a company has liquidated, wind up, if it is a closed down, then obviously they should pay the tax, right? Anyhow, they're not, their business is not, will not be there in next year. So that's why income tax department will going to be says that pay tax now only and wind it up or liquidate. So that is the meaning of an income of a discontinued business or profession. So these are the exceptions to the general rule of previous year. Okay. So first one is income of a non-resident shipping company if they are doing a shipping business.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yeah, tell.
Sir, can you please unmute us because, sir, it takes a long time to like typing on chat and
Okay, sure.
does.
Because if I am unmute everyone means they will going to speak.
I know,
So
sir.
that's
I know,
something.
sir.
Yeah, it is
Yes,
disturbing,
sir.
no? So that's why I'm unmuting everyone.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I will going to give if there if your people if your people's not disturbing means I will give unmute option. Okay.
Okay, sir. So,
Yeah,
sir,
if
in
you have any doubt, yeah, you have any doubt,
sir, in no, sir, we don't have any doubt.
yeah, if you have, please ask. Yeah, it is not a matter. Okay, I will
Okay.
explain each and everything. If you are not getting anything, so please ask again. I will explain.
Okay, sir. Can you do something sir, we'll type, we have a doubt, and you can unmute at that point of time, individual
Yes,
one.
yeah, sure. Yeah, sure, sure. If you have
Okay, sir.
doubt, please text it in group. I have doubt, so I will unmute and you can ask. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Is it okay?
Thank you, sir.
So give me 2 minutes. Let others join in. The way I am explaining is understandable to everyone.
Yeah, yeah, sir. It's
Yeah,
good, sir. It's really good.
yeah. Thank you. So the main problem is the entire this month I should take in online only. That is the problem. The practical things also I should doing in online means it is difficult. PhD
Sir,
is
Inna,
more, you
sir,
know.
are you sure it will reopen in October, sir?
Yeah, maybe I am expecting like 50%, 50%, 50-50. For example,
Okay.
four batches is there, four section. For two
Okay.
section one day, another two section another day, like that. 50%, 50% we
Okay.
should follow it. Maybe like that
Okay, sir.
guidelines central government may going to issue.
ಸರ್ ಇನ್ನ ಎಷ್ಟ್ ದಿನ ಸರ್ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್
ಈ ಮಂತ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಂಬರ್ ಪೂರ್ತಿ.
ಸರಿ ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಂಬರ್ 10ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ಲ
ನಾನು ಅವ್ರ ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಎಸ್ಟರ್ಡೇ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿದಾರಲ್ವಾ.
ಹೌದಾ ಸರ್
ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಂಬರ್ ಮಂತ್ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಕ್ಯಾರಿ ಆನ್. ಅಂಡ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸೀನಿಯರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ನಾಳೆಯಿಂದ ಕ್ಲಾಸಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್.
ಸರ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಸರ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ?
ಈಗ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು.
ನಿಮ್ದು ಬಿಟ್ಟಾಕಿ ಸರ್, ಬೇರೆ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಸರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು?
So give me 2 minutes. So let's others join in. So I will go to start. So this is a problem. If I am not muted, everyone means so they will on and they will going to disturb. There is a problem. Okay. If you have any question, you can raise it in chat box. I will unmute them so you can ask your questions if you have any kind of doubts. Okay. Yeah. So let them start the session. So his screen is visible to everyone. Yeah. His screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes,
thank
sir.
you. So as I am discussing the exceptions to the general rule of previous year, as we know that the previous year is a year one who is earning the income, he has to be paid that tax in the next year. That means assessment year. The previous year is a year. If I am earning the income, that year is called as a previous year. If I am paying the tax to the government, that year is called as a assessment year. So that is a difference between previous year and assessment year. Okay. So but there are certain exception is there. What are the exception? If you are earning the income, you should pay tax in previous year only. You should not carry forward that whatever you are earning in income in next year, because so there is a reason will be there, because all these are the uncertainty. So because of that only we are so give me time, I will clear all. Yeah. So these are the exceptions to the previous year. So first one is income of a non-resident shipping business. For example, if I am doing a shipping business, I don't know today I will be there in India. Tomorrow I may going to come to India or not come to India. So that is a reason. So income tax department will going to be so income tax department will going to be given clear directions that if you're leaving, if you're doing a shipping business, please pay the tax in the previous year only. So that is an exception. Next one is income of a person living in India. For example, if I am permanently India permanently not going to come back, not going to come back, right? So that's why income tax department will going to say is that please pay it in previous year only. One is income of a the person, association of person or body of individual. What do you mean by an association of person or body of individual? Means the business, if I am running a business, means the particular purpose only I will going to be form that association. Like for example, two or more person coming together to start this business mainly for the purpose of particular purpose only, particular objective only I'll form that business. So that is a meaning, the meaning of association of person. Okay, if association of person or body of individual, if you are formed, please pay tax in the previous year only. Don't wait for the next year. So this is a third exception. Fourth exception is if a person is likely to transfer any kind of property or income to other individual. I already given an example. My father is having a property. What he will do is responsibility to file the return on his income. What he will do in order to escaping from paying the taxes, he will going to transfer that assets to my name. So in order to escaping from paying the taxes, so because of this, income tax department will going to incur the loss, right? So that's why income tax department will going to be clearly says that if you are transferring any kind of property or income to someone in order to escaping from paying the taxes, please pay tax now only. That means in the previous year only. Don't wait for next year. This is a fourth exception. Next one is discontinued business. What do you mean by discontinued business? Discontinued business is nothing but no audio, sir. Is my audio is audible? Someone has texted in group. Is my audio is audible for everyone? Yeah. So thank you. I think hope your network is not connecting Himalaya. Okay. So discontinued business. What do you mean by discontinued business? Discontinued business is nothing but my company has been liquidated, and if my company has been wind up, so at that particular point of time I should pay the tax, then wind up, then liquidate. That is the meaning of an income of a discontinued business. So five exceptions for previous year. So one is shipping business. Next one is the person living in India, and the person is forming a association of person or body of individual for particular purpose, and the person who is transferring an asset for in order to escaping from paying the taxes. And fourth one is discontinued business or profession. So it's very simple to remember, no need to buy at it. It is like a practical things. If you think it in a practical manner, yes, the income tax department has given a clear idea that they should pay, because this all are uncertainty. We should know, if you are not providing exception, means they will not going to pay the tax at all during the previous year. So that is why the income tax department will going to say that please pay now only, don't go for next year. So that is a exceptions to the general rule of previous year. So hope this is a concept with regard to assessment year, previous year. So any doubt with regards to assessment year or previous year, you can ask it in chat box. I will, else I will going to give unmute for that particular person if you have any doubt. Any doubt? Yeah, no sir, thank you. Any doubt guys? If you want, I can explain it again. It's very simple. I given in a lot of example with so why the government has to pay tax during the previous year only? Why can't assessment year? Normally an individual, if he is earning the income, he should pay in the next year. That is the assessment year. But why they give an exception, this five exception? This is an uncertainty. So that's why income tax department has clearly said that please pay tax now only. Okay. So these are the exception. So let's see, wait. So these are the two difference. So very important. So I already discussed. So what is the um, difference between assessment year, previous year? So next point, next definition is assessee. So very important for your exam point of view. Who is an assessee? But assessee is a person one who is paying any kind of tax to the government. This is a terminology, guys. Assessee, one who is paying any kind of tax to the income tax department, that particular individual is called as an assessee. Okay, so once again I will repeat, who is an assessee? Assessee is a person, one who is paying any kind of taxes or any kind of penalty, any kind of fine to the Department of Income Tax. That person is called as an assessee. Okay, so let's take this example. uh, as I am the assessee. Why I am the assessee? I am the earning the income. I am paying the tax also. Professional tax I am paying to the income tax department. I also contributing to the development of our country. Okay, within 200 rupees, because even each single rupee is also very very important. But take it as an example. You all are students. Okay, are you paying any kind of tax to the income tax department? Obviously no. You all are not paying any kind of taxes. So that's why you are not an assessee. But I am an assessee. Why I am assessee? I am paying tax to the government. Okay, so this definition keep in mind. I am the person. I am person also. I am an also assessee. But you all are persons. But you all are not an assessee. Why? You are not paying any kind of taxes because you are not an assessee. But you all are person. It is 100% you all are person only. But I am a person along with assessee. But you all are persons, not an assessee, because you all are not earning any kind of income. So the definition or quotation will going to become like this: all persons are not an assessee, but all assessees are person. Once again I will repeat, all persons are not an assessee, but all assessees are person. Whether this statement are true or false, statement is true. Why? Because take it in a practical manner. You all are students. You all are not earning any kind of income. So your father is earning. You are coming for the purpose of getting an education in a college. You are not at all earning any kind of income. You are not at all paying any kind of taxes. When you are not paying any kind of taxes, as you all are assessing, obviously no. So that's why you all are not an assessee, but you all are persons. Okay, but take it as an example as a me. I am earning the income, as a college is paying salary for me, as giving and lecturing for you all people. So I am earning the income. I am paying the taxes also. When I am paying the taxes, I am becoming the assessee. Okay, at the same time I am the person also. So all persons are not an assessee in case of you, but all assessees are persons. I am the assessee as well as person. Hope you got the point. Who is an assessee? Assessee is a person, one who is paying any kind of taxes, penalty, or any sum of interest to the Department of Income Tax. That is called as an meaning of assessee. Any doubt? So any doubt, guys? Yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you. So this is assessee, and there one more person is there, deemed assessee. Who is a deemed assessee? Deemed assessee is nothing but uh, who is a deemed is nothing but, for take it as an example. I have a minor child. I have a small kid. Okay, he is also paying any kind of taxes. Obviously, he may going to pay the taxes. Why? Sometimes I will going to be fixed like 1 crore rupees deposit in a fixed deposit in his name, but he is not liable to pay the tax because according to the Indian contract law, according to the Indian Contract Act, will going to be says that up to 18 years you are not entitled to enter into any kind of contract, not entitled to into pay any kind of taxes because you are not a major. Okay, but even though he is earning the income on that particular fixed assets, right? Then how you going to pay the tax to the government? As a guardian has to pay the tax to the government. I am the guardian. I am the deemed assessee. Deemed assessee is nothing but on behalf of someone. If I am paying the tax to the government, that is called as a deemed assessee. So let's take it as an example, as a one more example. Okay, so let's take it as a Barack Obama or any kind of Bill Gates they all are having a business in India, right? If they are having business in India, is it possible to come to India and paying the taxes to the government? Obviously no. So what they will do, they will going to appoint a representative in India. What that representative will going to do, that representative will going to be pay the tax to the government on behalf of them. That is called as deemed assessee, or representative assessee is called. That is the meaning. Okay, next, one more point. Even Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, whatever it is called as a TDS, that Tirupati Tirumala Devasthan, even God also pay the tax. In next class, I will going to explain how God is responsible to pay the tax to the government. Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam is every year they are annually earning a crores together income, right? From like through and donation and all, they have to pay the tax on that income. Is it God will going to be pay the tax to the government? Is God will going to come directly to the income tax department and paying the tax to the government? Surely, obviously, the answer is no only. But there is a trust will be there. TTD, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. They are acting as a representative of the God. For God also, there will be having a representative. So that's why the representative will going to be pay the tax to the government. So here, deemed assessee is nothing but on behalf of anyone, someone. If you are paying the tax to the government, that is called as a deemed assessee or representative assessee. Okay, the example is father with minor, father and minor. Okay, so there is a difference. And like any kind of the businessman, if he is appointing a any kind of guardian in India or representative in India, that is called as a deemed assessee. Under one more assessee will going to come, default assessee. What do you mean by default assessee? The default assessee, sir, God has his own entity, sir, according to law. Yes, obviously, you are correct, God. Yes, God is also paying tax. So obviously, he's having own identity in our country, because lot of films has been tracked. He also filing the case. Recently, Ramaraja, that is Ayodhya case result has been declared. Then how they declared? On behalf of God name, they filed the petition in the court of Supreme Court. Then that's why they got the results to construct a temple in Ayodhya. So like that. Okay, next one is last one is default assessee. Who is a default assessee? Default assessee is nothing but, who is a defaulter? One who has to fails to pay the tax to the government, one who has to fails to follow the instructions which has been given by the income tax department. So that is called as a deemed assessee. Okay, so last 3 minutes is there. Mayanka, you can take screenshot of attendance and send it to my WhatsApp. I'm going to wind up this class another 2 minutes. Okay, so Mayanka, please take attendance. Okay, so deemed assessee is nothing but, so deemed assessee over default assessee. Default assessee is nothing but when you are fails to pay tax to the government, then you are called as a default assessee. Let's take it as example. Mr. Himalaya, so he is having a bench car, but he is not paying any kind of taxes. He's roaming from Bangalore to Mysore every day. One income tax officer has observed he's traveling in a bench car, but he is not paying any kind of taxes only. Why he is not paying? So let them send a notice. So they will going to send a notice like that. Mr. Himalaya, you have a bench car and a beautiful bungalow and all, but we have some kind of doubt that you are not filing your return. Please file your return. So they may going to send you a notice, but may the income tax department may be confused. Maybe Himalaya or someone, Himalaya B or Himalaya A, someone other person, but you should respect it for that notice. You should give reply for that notice. It is your responsibility. Why? The income tax department has given a sending a notice to you. If you ignore that notice, you are a defaulter. You should give and respect our Indian constitution, our Indian law. You should give an proper response that, sir, I am not an Himalaya, whatever you are thinking, that Himalaya is another person. Like that, if you respond, they will going to investigate, they will leave you. Okay, if you are not responding, then they will going to be put a file a case in law, and they will going to put a penalty like that. Who is a defaulter here? The defaulter is a person, one who is not respecting the law which is made by the income tax department, one who is not paying any kind of tax to the government. That person is called as a assessee in default. So once again with a summarize, so assessee, deemed assessee, assessee in default. Assessee is a person, one who is paying the tax to the government directly, penalty, interest, anything. If he is paying, that person is called as a assessee. Deemed assessee is nothing but the person, one who is paying tax on behalf of someone, that is called as a deemed assessee. Assessee in default, if you are unable to pay the tax to the government, if you are escaping from paying the tax to the government, that person is called as a assessee in default. Okay, so today is enough, guys. So still now we discussed today only 2 points. One is what is the assessment year, what do you mean by previous year, what is the difference between this, and what are the exceptions to the previous year. At the same time, we learn what are the definition, who is an assessee, who is an assessee in default, who is an deemed assessee. Okay, so once again, if you have any doubts, any queries, once again I will going to repeat in next class. Okay, any doubt, guys? So if you have any doubts, you can put it in chat box. I hope the time is 11:30. You have another class. Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay. So thank you, guys. I will going to wind up today. So tomorrow I will going to, if you have I have class, I will going to continue the class. Okay. So thank you. Have a nice day. You can leave the class.